1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this blue one over here. Ur-Quan ship should be crashed here. Let's scan the planets. Energy signature and biological. Lots of biological. Let's get all the biological first. Fortunately, they're nice and slow, or not moving at all. Kind of worm creatures. Let's take off and land again. Kill the worm. Makes me think of Earthworm Jim. Go to the Dreadnought.
Report from surface, Captain. We have located the wreck of an Ur-Quan dreadnought. The fact that there is anything but a hole in the ground indicates that the vehicle had some engine power left to soften its crash. Most of the dreadnought is just so much alien junk. We have made hollows of everything, but I don't think it will be much use to anyone but those egghead xenotechs back at the base. We have found one piece of equipment which is relatively intact. It is a huge hyperspace warp pod. The starboard unit, I think. We will bring it aboard. End of report. Okay, let's navigate and go to the star map. I'm going to head over here. Although, where was the Slylandro coordinates? It was up here somewhere. Yes, I believe that's the coordinates. Set up here. Beta Corvi. Maybe we can start dealing with those Slylandro probes. Or stop them being produced. Looks like a probe's after us. It was this planet, the fourth planet, I believe. Let's go to the actual planet.
Hello, visitor. We are the Slylandro.
Yeah, I found them.
I am content to hover, a Slylandro speaker. Your presence here fills us with excitement. We have gotten so few visitors over these many drawn. We hope you can stay to talk with us for a time.
I am Jimbo Spike, captain of the Earth Starship Andromeda. What the heck are you?
Oh, this is terribly exciting. We will be happy to tell you about ourselves if you would please do the same. You see, we Slylandro have been extremely interested in learning about the galaxy, but our physique makes us incapable of leaving our gas giant home. Therefore, we are totally reliant on our infrequent visitors to keep us informed about events outside this planetary system. And visitors usually only show up every few drawn. We hope that our newly deployed exploration probe fleet will not only gather information for us, but inform other races of our presence here as well.
Probes? What probes are you talking about?
You know, it's funny. We hadn't heard from the outside galaxy in a whole Jernasa. And then the Melno may come by and sell us a probe. And just a few hundred rotations later, you show up. Oh, the probes? Right. Well, like we said, just a short time ago, a race called the Melno may stopped by. They said they had acquired some information revealing our existence, and they wanted to study us, if we didn't mind. In fact, the Melno said they would pay us for the right to do so. I guess they are biology nuts or something. Anyway, in exchange for our information, they gave us a probe vessel.
Tell me about the other races who have visited you over the years.
Years? Oh, you mean drawn. Well, let's see. There was the Melno just a few rotations back. Then we go all the way back over 3 drawn ago to the Ur-Quan and the other milieu guys. The Yuli and the Draw, I think.
Milieu? What is the milieu? And who are the Yuli and the Dral?
Let me remember. That was a long, long time ago. I was only a nymph then. Oh yes, that's it. The sentient milieu was a cooperative association of sentient alien species. The Yuli, the Draw, the Taelo, the Melno, the Foz, and the Ur-Quan, who lived across a wide section of the galaxy. They talked with us fairly frequently for almost half a drawn. Then suddenly, the visit stopped, and we haven't heard from them since. Yes, there was another race, a highly sophisticated species of shaggy giants who made repeated trips to our world over a period of several drawn. They even installed a broadcasting satellite in orbit around our world, which let us talk with them whenever we wanted. They were called I'm sorry, I can't remember their names. It was a long, long time ago. I wish I knew more of the information you seek, Traveler. But we last saw the shaggy ones just over 39 drawn ago, and very little from that era has remained intact in our history chants. Hold on a minute. Let me consult with Associates Joyce Lifting and Solomon Plummet. Joyce Lifting, who has a better memory than I, recalls that the shaggy ones were described as being worried. They were always hurrying from place to place, seeking knowledge as though they were in a desperate search for some important secret, some answer to a question that they never shared with us. Solomon Plummet remembers that the last time the shaggy ones visited our world, they came aboard a great circular starship, one even larger than your own. They had discovered their answer and were leaving to go somewhere, and they didn't tell us exactly where somewhere was. No, I have told you. One moment. Joyce Lifting transmits. Joyce Lifting has remembered something else, though it does not relate to the shaggy one's question, answer, or departure destination. What my associate communicates is the description of a set of 10 worlds, unlike all others. The shaggy ones either discovered these planets, or, this is garbled, assembled them? We were told the planets were, again this is confusing, organized in some pattern which in some way alluded to the shaggy one's ultimate fate. One of the worlds was described as orbiting one of a pair of blue stars not far from here. Another of these worlds circled a large white sun. That is all we can remember.
Pardon me, but who exactly are you again?
We are the Slylandro. A race of kind, curious, gas-bag people.
Sounds interesting. Tell us more.
Certainly, provided you share with us similar information. What would you like to know?
Tell us about your home, this gas giant planet.
Our planet, which we call Source, has no solid surface as yours likely does. Our world is the 500-kilometer band of atmosphere in which we can survive. Below this are the depths, a dark, hostile region, which grows increasingly darker and more hostile the farther one goes. A typical feat of courage for Slylandro juveniles is to sink far enough into the depths so that the juvenile's gas bag is almost ruptured by the pressure. The tissue scars left by the trip last many rotations and are thought to attract comely mates. Above our world is void. When we travel up too far into void, we grow giddy and behave inappropriately.
What can you tell us about your culture?
We have an egalitarian society here. All are equal. Of course, that doesn't stop some people from being stupid fools or jerks. But on a world as huge as Source, where there are no barriers to restrict your travel, if someone is bothering you, you simply go somewhere else. As you might have guessed, we have no physical technology. In our long history, several of our people have tried to work with objects, constructing weapons and other tools from the carcasses of dead beasts. But eventually, whatever it was they were building got too heavy and dragged them down to the depths.
What about your history?
Since we possess no technology, we have no permanent way to record the passing of events. Instead, we use the history chants, long songs whose rhythms and patterns help prevent the introduction of error into the record. When the Shaggy Ones first arrived over 41 drons ago, we had no words for aliens or ships, for stars or planets. Our skies are an opaque swirl of colors. We knew nothing of the universe outside Source. The Shaggy Ones taught us most of the new words, and after they departed, we remembered them for the many long drawn, until ships from the sentient milieu arrived.
Tell us about your biology.
Our world, which we call Source, has been home to our species for many thousands of drawn. We evolved from simpler, unimodular beings who thrive in atmospheric convection cells. At first, we were little more than mindless consumers who glided at the edge of wind walls, straining the air for small animalcules. But even then, we were social creatures who invented language so that we could better cooperate when herding food into dense concentrations. There are many hundreds of species here in Source, producers, consumers, hunters, and parasites, but so far, we are the only species here to achieve intelligence.
Thank you, that's sufficient for now.
My pleasure. Now let's talk about you and your peoples.
Exactly how long is a drawn?
The drawn is our primary unit of time. It lasts for an interval equivalent to 4 million rotations of our planet. A drawn is subdivided into 2,000 dranasa. Now please, our turn. Will you tell us about yourselves?
Most of us come from a large rocky world called Earth.
Yes, that seems to be the pattern. Just about everyone who comes by here says they developed on a world a lot like that. As far as we know, we're the only sentient species who's ever evolved in the atmosphere of a gas giant. Of course, from what we know, most travelers like yourselves don't have much interest in gas giants. So maybe there are others like us, Slylandro, out there somewhere.
It's possible, I suppose. We travel the galaxy in starships, seeking knowledge and contact with other sentients.
That must be great, to leave your planet and roam the stars. You don't know how monotonous living on a gas giant for 3 or 4 drawn can be. Clouds, clouds, clouds. Wind, lightning, clouds, clouds, clouds. That's it. We know a lot about clouds. If you've got any cloud questions, ask us. We have over 800 different symbolic references just to describe them. Most of the time, when we aren't eating, we hover around and talk about what the clouds look like. Of course, the only things we know about are clouds, food, and other Slylandro. So generally, that's what we think the clouds look like.
Our primary objective right now is to free ourselves from the evil Ur-Quan.
The Ur-Quan? The long brownish guys from the milieu with all the eyes and arms? They used to come visit us regularly about 3 drons ago. They told us about all the interesting things they found from their scouting missions. They were really nice. Why do you fight with them?
I think you are confused. Those aren't the Ur-Quan we're talking about. Ours are green.
But the Ur-Quan were such good guys. They had lots of interesting things to tell us about, and they never got impatient with our questions. Well, I guess a lot can happen to a species in 3 Dron, like turning green and evil.
We are particularly interested in studying unusual planets and life forms.
Oh, then you should go check out a planet orbiting a blue star not too far from here. I think there is another blue star right next to it. We can't describe exactly where it is, but the people who told us about it, the Ur-Quan I think, said that it was one of the rarest worlds in space, and that as far as they knew, there were only 10 of these planets in this part of the galaxy.
That's enough about us for now.
Okay, but please, can we talk about you some more later?
What are those glowing bits inside of you?
Oh my, I forgot. You creatures see in the visual range, and can see our, we can't see them. What I mean to say is, they are, we use them when the male and the female, well look, I'd rather if you didn't ask about them, okay? Especially not in front of Soul and Plummet. She's shy.
I said, what are those glowy things inside of you?
Great. Now you've done it. Just look at Soul and Plummet. You've embarrassed her so badly that she can't even regulate her ballast.
Look, I'm sorry I asked you about your glowy bits.
That's okay. Actually, your explicit questions have put Soul and Plummet in an unusual and intriguing mood. I will explore this change more fully when this conversation is over.
Can you give me details about your probes?
Sure, if you are interested. In exchange for information about the life on Source, the Melnor may offer to give us a remote exploration probe. It would roam the galaxy gathering information and contacting alien races, and when it had filled its data storage units, it would return here and reveal to us everything it had learned.
Well, why then do your probes attack our ships?
Our probes do not attack. They have only defensive capabilities. Offensive behavior is not part of the instructions we programmed into the probe. To do so would be reprehensible.
Can we talk a little bit more about the probes program?
Sure. What would you like to know?
Would you explain the general outline of the probes program?
Sure. It was a difficult task for us, since we'd never done anything like that before. But for the most part, we just adjusted its standard program, which went something like scan for targets as defined in target list. If no current target, then select new target from the current targets list using specified priorities. If current position is at current target, then set current behavior to new behavior based on behavior priority settings. Perform current behavior. Okay, that's the basic program. I said it was simple, and here are the tables used by the program. Target list, with associated target priority. Space vessel, 5. Transmission source, 4. Astronomical anomaly, 3. Planet-bearing life signature, 2. Raw replication materials, 1. Probe behaviors, with assigned priorities. Communicate, 5. Record data, 4. Analyze data, 3. Seek replication materials, 999. Move to current target, 1. That's it.
You mentioned the probe's defensive capabilities. Elaborate.
That behavior was hard-coded by the Milnorme. We couldn't mess with it. Essentially, the probe will only fire its weapons if it has been attacked and cannot communicate with the attacker.
And when defending itself, it uses its lightning weapon?
No. The probe is armed with a battery of missiles. It doesn't use its electrical discharge device in combat.
What missile batteries always attacked us with lightning bolts?
That's impossible. It's inconceivable. The electrical discharge device is used only for breaking down raw replication materials into their component compounds for easy gathering.
Let's talk more about this later on.
Okay.
Where exactly did you say you got the probe from?
From the Milnorme Traveler Traders. It was catalog item 2418, Remote Self-Replicating Robot Explorer Probe, the economy model.
Why did the Milnorme sell it to you?
The Milnorme traded it to us for data on the life on source. They said the information was unique and was worth, I don't really understand their units of exchange, something like 10,000 Credots or something like that. Fortunately, that was exactly the price of their catalog item 2418, Remote Self-Replicating Robot Explorer Probe.
How long ago did you get the probe?
2 or 300 rotations, I guess.
What was the probe's program?
It was sent on a 500 rotation mission to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no catalog item 2418, Remote Self-Replicating Robot Explorer Probe, had gone before.
Can you explain the probe's replication ability?
Well, we're not hardware people, so we only know the theory. What happens is that while the probe is exploring space, whenever it's not doing something more important, it hunts for asteroids and similar space junk, zaps it into its component parts, absorbs the debris, and when it has enough raw materials stored inside, it manufactures a perfect replica of itself. So even though we only bought one probe, by now there should be hundreds of probes, maybe even thousands.
Can we talk a little bit more about the probe's program?
Sure. What would you like to know?
Would you tell me about the replication behavior?
I'd be glad to. You see, the probe has the capability to seek out raw materials, process the raw materials into component compounds, collect the compounds, and then, when it has a sufficient supply, it can build a duplicate of itself. We decided that since we had only one probe, we should change the replication priority and crank it up so that there would be more probes sooner.
What priority did you assign to replication?
Well, the factory setting was 2, in between movement at 1 and analyze data at 3. I told Joyce Lifting to set it a bit higher. Let me ask him what he set it to. Oh, my, that was a bit extreme, wasn't it? Joyce Lifting told me he changed it to 999, the highest setting on the dial.
What is the effect of the priority setting on behavior?
I'm pretty sure the way it works is that every time a behavior is completed or interrupted, the program selects a new behavior based on the defined behavior target priorities and what kind of target is currently selected. I think a really high priority would cause a probe to focus its attention on that behavior.
Your probe does destroy ships and I can prove it!
No, it cannot! It is not programmed for hostile behavior. What is your reasoning?
Think about the probe's replication behavior.
The probe seeks raw materials and processes them in preparation for replication.
Think about the effect of changing the replication behavior's priority.
The answer is simple. It would spend more of its time seeking raw materials for its replication process. So what?
Now, what will it do to a ship, given that its replication priority is set to the maximum?
I don't see what you are getting at, but I'll play along with you. Like I said, alien ships are the top priority target. Once a probe scanned a ship, it would instantly move toward it. Then, when it got to the ship, it would initiate communication automatically. When communications were terminated, a new behavior would be selected and... a new behavior would be selected. And since the replication setting was set to maximum, the probe wouldn't get time to pick a new target. It would use the current target, the ship, for raw replication materials. It would process the ship, break it into component compounds with electrical discharges. Oh no! What have we done? Traveler, you must tell us what we can do! How can we stop the probes from destroying all life in the galaxy?
Someone's gonna have to hunt them all down and destroy them.
No, that would never work. The probes will replicate too fast. As soon as you destroyed one, two would take its place.
Yes, I've noticed. Well, to begin with, if I were you, I'd sue the Melnorme.
Sorry, the Melnorme made us agree to a formal waiver of damages in case something like this happened.
Can't you broadcast some kind of recall signal?
No, not catalog item 2418, remote self-replicating robot explorer probe. The model with the recall transmitter was catalog item 2419, and the Melnorme said it was out of stock.
Typical. I don't suppose you have some kind of mega self-destruct code or something?
Why yes, there is! You're a genius, Traveler! Why didn't we remember that? Oh, there's a problem though. How are we going to transmit the code? Well, while we ponder that problem, at least we can give you the code sequence. That way, if you run into a probe, you can destroy it without getting shot at.
Yay. Goodbye, Slylandro gas bags.
Goodbye, human fluid sac.
Human fluid sac. I've just realised I've gone way over time, so I'll probably break this down into two parts. But we're going to go back to them.
Ah, human traveler, we have news. One of our probes finally returned home, and we have been able to reconfigure it so that it will seek other probes and broadcast the destruct code sequence. We expect the population of probes will decline swiftly. Thank you so much for showing us our error. We feel very badly about the inconvenience it has caused others.
Goodbye, Slylandro gas bags.
Goodbye, human fluid sac.
Well, I'm going to call that it for part 27. Join me next time for part 28. I'll see you then.